Hi everybody, this is Karak. Have you ever been sucked down the business end of a black hole? Yeah, me either. But I'm pretty sure someone who works at Codemasters recently had the experience because playing Rally Dirt channels that feeling better than a sperm down Hank Hill's narrow urethra. I'm talking about blast down roads that should be called trails, and in fact trails that should be called optional deer paths, blasting through the woods at speeds that only fleeing riders and men and women stupid enough to try this actual sport probably ever experience. I'm talking about really true rally, folks, not that damnable mishmash of collective activities that many rally games pretend make up rally, but instead the sweat-soaking, seat-to-your-pants kind of racing that was heady enough to wag its finger in Travis Pastrana's face and say, you know what, you may be good at other sports, but maybe you should move along. That, my friends, is what Rally Dirt is shooting for. So let's see if they hit the target or they went flying the fuck off into the air like they missed a turn. Hairpin turn right? Maybe. And always remember that they're asking for money, which means they can be reviewed. So they can't have it both ways. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to review if the price up front is worth it, whatever the hell it is that's in the original package. Let's begin this caffeinated romp into the foresty wonderland where heel and toe is not a dance step. Graphics are up first. You know, the game isn't fantastic by any stretch of the term, and it doesn't offer some of the more advanced techniques, and the engine isn't a one-of-a-kind throwing special effects at your face every second. But it's three things. Three things that matter. It's speedy on even middling systems, making 60 frames with some caveats possible regardless if you're playing it on your new top-of-the-line system or a fucking hamburger. It's also fairly clean looking and has an aesthetic that seems balanced for performance first, followed by spit and shine, and because of that the engine purrs and looks pretty damn good throughout. It's really just rock solid. I mean, there's one visual glitch I saw in the game that had some strange filtering on some road dirt, meaning for an early access title it's actually pretty rock steady. And sure, the specular highlighting can be blinding at times, and yes, it's true that there is no real-time deformation of the tracks, even though from my stance, point-to-point rally, that really doesn't make that much sense. There is this, though. Winding out of a set of turns, shadows flickering from your right and left, you come out of twisting mountains and into a sliding, swathy area of road that crosses grassy fields, and what moments ago had been an almost painfully tense, nail-biting experience of racing on the raggedy edge of tire shear pressures and traction slip into an almost ethereal moment of peace, as speed and forward driving lines replace tactile instinctual movements. It was fucking awesome looking. Those kind of moments happen an incredible number of times in this game. Overall, I'd say good, but won't win best looking, but it may end up stealing that trophy and running away at 60 frames per second while being chased at an unsteady 45 by many other racing games. Sound, music, and voice.
Dip, post, left 6 over crest, care crest, right 6, right 5 over crest, logs outside. Left 3 is gone. Right 5 and left 6 into right 5 and left 5 long times 4 and right 2.
Sound is up first. And, you know, the game really has it all. People have actually done some videos comparing the car sounds within the game to their real-life counterparts, and it's all pretty much spot on. Whether driving from the coffin-like interiors or watching your vehicle slide sideways up a mountain like Gravity said screw it and took the day off, the sound is chambered well, filtered correctly throughout the game, and it's just a joy to listen to, even if that joy is mostly listening to a car coming only a scant moment from exploding into oblivion by being redlined into damn near infrared, especially the way I drive. Now, when it comes to music, there isn't much. Some ambient stuff, and it's okay. Some menu tracks that are also suitably forgotten. Overall, not much. And if you're going for a fairly sim-like title like this, I think that makes sense. I would say the music is good, but very little of it so far, and that could end up pleasing or pissing off some fans, really depending on how they like to play. Now, next up is voice. Left into easy straight, right into impossible to miss bump, straight on till morning. Actually, you know, the only voice is that of the co-driver, and in other games this might be a throwaway situation, but it is not and never will be in rally games. Outfitted even with the ability to change the call-out times of the co-driver, it's imperative that the directions can be heard regardless of the in-game mixing. And overall, these guys did a hell of a job, with the co-driver always warning me of a turn into randomly placed for no reason log pile with ease. And it's just a good overall natural feeling. I would say just as a whole package, I love it so far. Now when it comes to gameplay, Those of you who don't know, rally racing is point-to-point road and dirt racing, sometimes hill climbs and so forth, but the name of the game here is you against the track, and then that time is compared to other drivers. In rally, you don't go slamming and humping the competition into a dirty man's game of subway hip bumping. This is very simply you, track, time. Currently, Rally Dirt includes 3 areas that can be split up into a number of runs, each with unique pacing, terrain, possibly weather, and so forth. And for an early access game, you do get a good solid number of driving locations. I won't lie and say that I wouldn't have loved maybe 5 areas, but after spending like 3 days trying to simply perfect my driving on one track, and in fact, only 2 areas of that one track, I guess in the end it actually makes sense. This is distilled racing, people, and to understand that is to understand if you will like it. It doesn't throw a ton of tracks at you, it doesn't throw a ton of cars at you, though it does have a good selection. This isn't the gun scene in the Matrix with M16s replaced by Audis. What it is pure driving. There's an already concrete level of connection between the driver and the game that's missing in a lot of other racers, even ones that I have actually liked a lot. Whether I was using my steering wheel or my 360 controller, the game felt connected, and after a couple switches, I just really felt like I knew what was going on. Now, there are a couple settings missing so far that remove Rally Dirt from the pure sim I think it wants to be. And what it offers currently, though, is really good. A nice number of settings to outfit the car the way you want, and then just says, okay, sucker, go try. No, seriously, I'm gonna step aside, and you just go try. It's great. And try I did. And fail I did. Within 45 seconds, I was a flipping, slamming, sexy mess of broken glass and busted wheels when I not only missed a hairpin turn, I had decided that achieving orbit was my goal for that day. Less than a minute later, I clipped a tree, going about 476 miles an hour, and the last thing I saw before the game reminded me that I was done was the underside of my vehicle flying off the mountain. Only after a couple hours did I realize this game was Rally Dark Souls Edition, a game with feedback so mystifyingly satisfying that additional sections I had eclipsed were just other notches in my belt, and yet it didn't mean I was the best. Actually, in fact, many times it simply meant I had graduated from buggering around clumsily and learning the track to knowing the track, then to understanding the track, then to driving the track, and finally to racing the track. All of those are completely different steps. Now, I understand if you don't understand that kind of thing, and if you don't, I'd say leave now, because the game actually can be a fairly harsh mistress. There is always something to improve. You first want to just get through one race, then you want to get through one race without spinning out, then without crashing, then you start keeping track of times, and then you find out everyone else is doing the same thing, and oh shit, here we go. Gameplay split into a career mode and a free play mode, of which I expect most people will avail themselves of the latter at the very beginning. It's here where the humbling of experiences begins, the understanding of the differences between front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, and car weights really start to solidify here. And I would say it's also the best place to learn the locations and understand their individual idiosyncrasies before jumping in to career mode, which basically just takes you point to point from those as you elevate up the ladder of times and cars. Now, not all is amazing in Rally Dirt. First off, the inability for a true test or training mode of any kind is sad as hell, and there are no tutorials, so if you want to try to understand the more difficult to master moments of rally driving, you're going to actually be YouTubing yourself to death. Additionally, no one is pretending this is a full game, not even the developers. It's not. But what is there is actually a lot, to be brutally honest. It just may not look it until you understand the kind of game it is. Sadly, without hill climb, one of the major features of rally games is actually missing. Luckily, the developers have the entire release plan meted out, and it looks gorgeously filled out with content. I don't think there's going to be an issue there. Lastly, it's missing some settings and some options for the steering wheels and so forth, like I discussed before. And so, if you are so inclined to get the game, I would check to make sure that everything that you want to use is supported. Now, fun factor, absolute goddamn bliss. Listen guys, I am a rally fan first before any other kind of racing, and I can't explain why, but I can show you why. Just look at some of the good runs people do on YouTube. There is something almost magical about flying through the trees on a stolen speeder bike carrying a screaming Ewok with you, and since you can't do that, you have Rally Dirt, a game that combines edge of your seat holy shit moments with pure learning lessons and a return on your time spent that to me is extraordinary and is not actually returned in most other games. You know, when you realize that you are slowly learning and when you understand the difference between two turns and the almost angry ex-girlfriend attitude of one of those turns, it becomes a mixture of speed and danger and precision. It's not perfect, but what it is, to me at least, is absolutely fucking fun. So that's it for me. As you guys know, I rate games on a buy, wait for sale, rent, or never talk about it again rating scale. This is a buy unless you don't like Rally or are not a racing fan, or if you just want to hold off to see if they come through with their promises, which, as we know with this developer, they most likely will. Otherwise, here you get far more already than you paid for, and a game that has its mechanics set perfectly before it's done adding content, which is the exact opposite from many games out there, and it's really actually pretty refreshing. So anyway, that's it for me. If you liked the video, hit like. If you disliked it, hit dislike. If you have any questions about the game that I didn't cover, which I'm sure there's thousands, feel free to post, and I will get back to you. Peace out.